Welcome to For Good Measure, an interview series celebrating diverse composers and other creative artists. I'm Nanette McGuinness, Artistic Executive Director of Ensemble for these times. In this week's episode, we continue our conversation with Haruka Fujii. I want to circle back to two things that you were talking about. One was you don't have to give us your 90-minute masterclass if you don't want to, but I am really curious about that marimba history and how it became so important and
Sure. Yeah, there are several key factors, like how it became such a popular instrument in
Mm-hmm.
Japan. As I started studying in Juilliard, um, all my percussion friends are, I often face the question, why are there so many good Japanese marimba players, like female
Correct.
marimba players? And if you look at the all the international competitions, like Japanese girls wiping out all the prizes. Really,
Yeah.
that was like, especially when I started like 1998 to like 2001. I also checked out few competitions, but it was like the winners were always, Japanese girls, and it's
Mm.
not only girls actually. Yeah, like the both male and female players doing really well. And then I started, like asking around, and especially my mother's, and she actually has done extensive research of how marimba came to Japan, which is a really amazing story, that interesting history, that everyone knows how marimba's ancestor comes from Africa. But
Right.
then keyboard percussion instruments, whole another stream that starts in Southeast Asia, Java to Indonesia, and
Right.
it goes through, yeah, it goes along the Silk Road Pass, and into Korea to China to um, comes to Japan. These keyboard instruments that different shaped, and then over the time it changes the forms and shapes and
Mm-hmm.
materials also. But then this small boat shaped, almost like a tiny furniture looking thing that could sit on the table, boat shape, and then with a wooden keyboard, comes into Japan from China while we were closed. Like, we have a few hundred years of closed time, that the export and import were
Mm-hmm.
not possible, but there was only one port that was open for the government to import and export. And this little instruments arrived from China as a gift. And then people thought this is like like really such a nice instrument, that
Mm-hmm.
um, major entertainment device of that time. Instead of Spotify, we had this thing called kabuki, which is the traditional theater form.
Right.
That's like everyone's entertainment to go see it. It's like a
Mm-hmm.
musical, right? So some of the artists took these instruments to make a play, and that became a huge hit that everyone saw it, which still is one of the standard repertoire they play now. It's called Tenjiku Tokubei. Um, so this the play, the story is about this guy who travels all around the world and then come back to Japan and then tell them the story of what he saw, and then it accompanies with this xylophone.
Mm.
So so this xylophone became a thing that I was like, what is this? So, and that was the beginning of it. And then, like, moving a lot forward, hundreds of years, there are a few factors that um, Japanese government designated xylophone as the education device for teaching music in
Ah.
every elementary school.
Yeah.
So how we learned do re mi was through hitting the xylophone, like a tabletop xylophone. Every school had it. I even remember growing up and then going to elementary school, and then either harmonica and melodica, recorder, and xylophone
Mm-hmm.
was one of the um, instruments that was designated. And then also after World War II, there was this famous missionary group who came from America to spread the Christianity, along with classical music bands including like brass bands to harp bands. And then one of them was a marimba band. And the marimba band was 4 female players, and then one the boss of this missionary group called Lawrence Lacour.
Okay.
And then he traveled all over Japan, north tip to south tip, and giving more than 100 concerts.
Wow.
A lot of people thought, this is it, I want to be like that. And within that is Keiko Abe, who has become the goddess of marimba development, and not only in Japan but globally known. Like all percussionists knows her name. So she started developing the instruments more. Now that not only xylophone, but then the sound of marimba came from America, and Japanese manufacturers who used to make warplane propellers.
Right.
Like the war is done, their business is done. What do we make? Oh, I hear there are like school designated this instruments, the marimba or xylophone, as a school elementary, like required instruments. Everyone started making that. So we had like several companies started competing to make who makes the better marimba.
I love it.
Crazy. Yeah, Yamaha also was one of them, and Korogi, which is in my studio, which I shipped it from Japan. This is from a Japanese company, one of them who started making in that era and still going strong, and run by this small family owned master craftsmanship, and one of the best sounding marimba. So on, so on. So that's just like a small key factors of it. But there's this really interesting stream that's, other than marimba coming from Africa into Central America and goes to North America. That's the main path. And then there is this interesting another keyboard percussion, coming from Southeast Asia. And so Japan happens to be the place of another big development of this instruments, marimba. And my mother happens to be one of them who really dedicated to really, what's the word? Make this instruments as the shape of what it is now.
Yeah. No, that's fascinating. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as a percussionist, you play a lot of different instruments. Most of us, if you're a keyboardist, maybe you play organ and piano and harpsichord, or maybe you only play one, but most of us, and maybe, you play flute, you play bass flute, regular flute, but percussion, you have more instruments at your disposal, as it were, than any of us. Do you have a favorite child?
Well, because of my past with my mother, of course marimba is one of my favorite instruments, and I grew up with it. But I'm again, because of like how I grew up, like my mother was devoted to this instruments, marimba. And then I always had this pressures, like, what is going to be my instruments other than marimba as a percussionist? And that used to be a sort of kind of like a pressure, but I think was a great pressure that really had me really open to like any other like available instruments. And I was so interested in hand drums. I was so interested in orchestra percussion, all sorts of percussion. And I was always a little bit nervous, like I still haven't figured out like which one is the one.
Right.
And I have to say, I still don't know, meaning I love them all. And my approach to being percussionist is, it's percussion itself, actually, that the history of it, as it became a part of classical music instruments family, it's just around 100 years old or so. It's still very young as a solo percussion, a solo category of classical music. And it's still evolving. It's a living form still. And I love pushing the boundary of what can be called percussion, like the piece I did with Vivian from through your group, which was an amazing experience of really, experimenting everyday materials that's around you and in the house, in the living space. And the salad bowl with water filling that changes the pitches of the salad bowl, to like rice bowls, to anything that you can find. I love working with composers who has the open ears and open heart to really explore what percussion could be, and the defining of what percussionists can do is really boundless and unlimited, possibilities of making anything into an instrument. I've performed, like I said, like Tandun has the like paper concerto. I would be playing 25 different kinds of papers, not even like touching any percussion instruments, quote unquote, you would think of. But that is still music, and it really depends on the artist who is using these devices, how to make them into the musical instruments. And so my garage is full of interesting things that you would never think of it as an instrument, car junk parts to
I love it.
really, like toys to and the ceramic pots to so many things.
Vivian Fung's Sparkle and Shimmer, the two pieces she wrote for us that you played beautifully, they were such cool pieces. And you did a wonderful job with them. And I think of, if music is sound in time, which is how I kind of, as a big definition of it, then anything, any object can create music, because
exactly.
So Thank you for listening to For Good Measure, and a special thank you to our guest Haruka Fujii for joining us today. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to our podcast by clicking on the subscribe button, and support us by sharing it with your friends, posting about it on social media, and leaving us a rating and a review. To learn more about E4TT, our concert season online and in the Bay Area, or to make a tax-deductible donation, please visit us at www.e4tt.org. This podcast is made possible by grants from the California Arts Council, the San Francisco Arts Commission, Grants for the Arts, and generous donors like you. For Good Measure is produced by Nanette McGuinness and Ensemble for These Times, and designed by Brennan Stokes, with special thanks to co-producer and audio engineer Stephanie M. Neumann. Remember to keep supporting equity in the arts, and tune in next week for Good Measure.